Welcome to Mallet and Michelle on Dripping Springs, hosted by me, Michelle Lewis, and Steve Mallet.
The great Michelle Lewis.
The great Michelle Lewis. And I'm just coming right off of my birthday, so I'm feeling
it's your
a little...
birthday month. December is your birthday month.
It is. It is.
About to be 29 again.
Oh, yes, it is. So, Steve...
Do you say 29 or 39 when you lie?
I actually just ask people how old they think I am.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. And
what do they say normally?
Like my 30s, my mid-30s.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, and I tell them they need to get their eyes checked.
You did win the gene lottery at some point. You're holding up well for your age.
Thank you. I like to say it's because I have so much Botox I can't move my face, but...
You don't follow any of the traditional rules that you're supposed to follow to have a prolonged life and good health, but you seem to have it.
Well, thank you very much. It's just genetics or the fact that my daughter's an esthetician. Maybe I'm going to choke that.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Maybe I'm going to choke that up. You know what? My birthday was celebrated wonderfully because I don't even know if you watched it, but we won. UT won the Big 12 championships, and we are going to the Sugar Bowl. I'm so excited. Yes. There's a big controversy surrounding this.
Uh-oh.
Big. The top four. So we are playing the Washington Huskies. Their record's 13-0. Michigan and Alabama are playing. Michigan's 13-0. Alabama's 12-1. UT was 12-1. Florida State's 13-0, and they didn't get in. Yeah.
I saw something in the paper this morning, or in the paper.
In the paper. In the
news, on my news app on my iPad about that, and didn't read it. But so what's the reasoning for Florida not going? But
there's this whole, I don't really understand it as well as I probably should, or as much as I pretend I do. But we really should have a playoff system better than there is, and there isn't. I don't know. Maybe it's how much money people can draw in. I don't know. But
the good news is that UT is playing.
UT is playing, and then whoever wins those games, they play for the national championship. It's the 8th of January in Houston.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but another really good local news is the Texas State Bobcats are in their first ever bowl, the First Responders Bowl, and they're playing against Rice.
And where's that going to be?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where that. Maybe it's going to be in San Marcos, but I honestly don't know where the First Responders Bowl is. But that's a good question. But yeah, good to the Bobcats. Texas State
congratulations, Bobcats. Hey, we forgot to mention our guest today, Lisa Sullivan.
Yes,
who is she actually has an interesting
her title
at the City of Dripping Springs. She is the People and Communications Director for the City of Dripping Springs. And
she's bubbly.
Yeah, she's bubbly. That's when we walked away from her the first time we met her, I said, "Oh, she's going to be fun." So,
she thought you were famous, Steve.
I feel like I met a celebrity. Like, no, it's not that big a deal.
I had to pop her bubble.
Yeah. It's just his mom that cares about him.
Yeah, it's just his mother.
And the show today brought to you by M. Elliott Studio and Capital Farm Credit. Thanks for being sponsors. Earlier this year, we talked about my real estate predictions for 2023.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I vaguely. I mean, I actually do pay attention to you sometimes.
Yeah, occasionally. I had 4 that I had, and I've kind of got a mixed bag of results from that. I predicted, number 1, the Austin real estate market will return to a more normal market where there are plenty of homes available for sale at any given time, and the average days to sell hovers in the 90 to 100-day range. I hit that one right on the head. There's a lot more stuff out there for people to buy compared to 2 years ago. Number 2 was the Fed will realize they've been too aggressive on interest rate hikes, and they will start to soften their stance. Voila.
Oh, you should get your own.
Fed stopped raising rates.
You're like a regular Sylvia Brown. You know Sylvia
Don't know who Sylvia Brown is.
She's like a famous psychic.
Yes.
But I think she's
exactly
dead.
Like Sylvia Brown.
I don't think she predicted her own death, though, so you're not that good.
Well, what also happened this week was that the White House realized that Bidenomics was terrible, and they're going to stop using that. So you're not going to see Bidenomics in the news anymore because they realize most people associate that with terrible economic times. But the Fed did announce they're going to stop raising rates.
They said something like next year they're gonna play with them 6 times ish, right?
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
But inflation has come down. It's trending in which I guess the right direction. And so they've used that to say they're not going to raise interest rates anymore. But I think part of it was starting to cripple the economy. I
saw something, because I have children that are contributing members of society, one of them being a homeowner, and they are really just struggling as far as like when they go to the grocery store and gas and whatever else. But I read something, I don't know where I read it, but I read something that says it's costing the average family an extra $12,000 a year this year. And I can see it through my children. So, hey, Steve, your phone is going off.
Yeah, it's not my phone. That's the camera.
Oh.
That just quit. Every time I go to the grocery store, fill my car up or just do anything. We went to I took some friends out to dinner Saturday night to not a very fancy restaurant, a local restaurant here in Dripping Springs. And dinner for 4 of us, no wine, not extravagant, was $126 with a tip. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, the food prices are insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
So my third prediction was mortgage rates will continue to settle, and that's one that's partially true. Interest rates have flattened. They're kind of bouncing around on a good day, right in the high 6, almost 7, low 7s. But everybody is saying that now that the Fed's announced that they're not going to raise interest rates, that for the first quarter of 2024, they're expecting rates to come down.
Do you think it's going to be a frenzy like we had?
That's one of my predictions for 2024. So let me finish up my number 4, and I'll tell you what I think is going to happen in 2024. So my number 4 for 2023 was more than half the real estate agents will quit and go back to being baristas and lifeguards, which I took a lot of flack for.
Oh, yeah, you did.
But it was kind of fun.
Until you have to be the barista or the lifeguard.
I'm not going to be the barista. Luckily, I'm pretty good at the real estate gig. But that's turned out to not be right. I just checked, and at the last announced number from the board is they're down about 1,000 agents for 2023. But the dues for the last payment of your annual dues is due in December, and it's a big one. And I bet you that we'll lose another couple thousand agents when they go, man, I'm not making any money. Why am I going to send $600 to the board to keep my license, for another 4 or 5 months?
We don't talk about it often. I don't even know if we've ever really truly mentioned it, just like flat out mention it. But you write an article every month in the Outlook,
yep.
And you kind of touch a little on all of these. You kind of go into a little bit more depth, general information.
Yeah.
So
it's been fun. I've been doing that for years. I think there's probably only about 12 people that read it, but I like doing it.
13. I read it.
Yes, you read it. I like it. I like thinking about the things that are going on, kind of analyzing them a little bit, and that article allows me to do that. So real quick, my predictions for 2024. Interest rates will continue to come down and the market will heat up again. And I think that as soon as interest rates come down, I would even say 1/2 to 3/4 of a point. And if they're in the low 6s, the frenzy that we saw in 2021, late 2020 and all of 2021, I don't think it's going to go back to that, but we're going to see some semblance of that.
We still have an inventory issue, right?
No, actually, there's quite a bit of inventory. There's more houses out there right now. There's not enough buyers for them that are willing to put contracts in. We did have a property recently that we put on the market and got multiple offers on in Austin. So we're seeing that again. They were a cash buyer, but I see that the market could heat up. And I think a lot of people that are sitting on the fence right now going, well, it's not the right time to buy. If you wait 6 months and interest rates come down a little bit and all these buyers that are renting right now because they moved to the area for a great job, get into the market and start buying, you could end up spending $100,000 more for the house than you would if you bought it today and paid a 0.5 point higher interest rate, which you can refinance down the road. If interest rates go to 5.5, refinance.
Yeah.
I think that this is not necessarily real estate, so these are just predictions for 2024. I think everybody that thinks they know what's going to happen in the 2024 presidential election right now, which is almost a year away, throw all that crap out.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you think is going to happen is not going to happen.
I think this country needs to buckle up. Whatever's about to happen, I think everybody needs to buckle up and pay attention.
It's going to be interesting.
I think even just in the local elections, I have been more so this year really hyper focusing on the local elections and local candidates and really deep diving, because I think it begins at home.
I
right?
agree. Yep. Having good people in office here locally is probably the most important thing you can do.
I think you can make more of a difference, in your own backyard, and kind of knowing who you're voting for, why you're voting for, and not just having a letter by someone's name. Right.
And you can actually talk, we met with Anthony Hippolito.
Yes.
We've met with Ben Gieselman. We know them now. We know their policies. We know how they'll lead. One of the things about the national elections is, like, take it or leave it, Joe Biden is not running this country right now.
No.
You don't, if you could have a conversation with him, whatever he says, it's irrelevant. He's not the one making decisions right now. He's like Weekend at Bernie's. They're just propping him up. I'm seriously.
Yeah.
I know our younger folks will have to look that up. Look it up on YouTube. But it is. I agree with you. It's important to know what's going on locally and get good people in locally.
Mm-hmm.
I think that here's another prediction for 2024, and I'll let you do your next story. The electric vehicle thing is...
Oh, it's tanking.
It's tanking. I just read an article this morning that GM loses $61,000 per electric vehicle that they sell. $61,000. I think the federal government is pushing this, and right now the auto manufacturers, except for Tesla, which is making money on this in other ways by selling carbon credits, the manufacturers now are starting to say, wait a minute, this isn't working for us. We're either going to have to, if we continue down this path, we're going to have to raise the price of our gas-powered vehicles, which is actually what the government really wants. Or we're going to have to figure out a way to make some money on these electric vehicles.
Besides those Tesla trucks are just, there's actually one in Dripping. It is so ugly. It's not even a truck. Like, I mean, do you know the meaning of the word truck?
Yeah,
it's not a truck.
Well,
it looks like the Mars rover.
Yeah,
it looks like
I think people aren't buying those.
I actually have a friend of mine that has 2 of them on order. Yeah. No lie.
But don't you think that's just like the Pokemon Go of the times? It's like the coolest, trendiest thing. I think anybody that gets one of those is going to feel like they're cool for a while, and then everybody's going to have them, and then we're going to be like, who cares? Those will never be collectible.
I saw a meme that says that once you get your Tesla truck in, and then 6 months go by and all the hype is down, you're just the ugly guy at the stoplight. Yeah. Everybody's pointing at you.
So wrapping up my 2024, what I think is going to happen in 2024 with the electric vehicle thing is because the federal government is losing, it's not getting the outcome it wants by forcing manufacturers to make more electric vehicles. You're going to start to see calls for the taxes on gas to be increased, because in Europe, that's what they said. We'll never sell electric vehicles if the cost of gasoline is cheap. And so rather than having a good product that people want to buy in electric vehicles, the government will force you to buy an electric vehicle by making gas $6 a gallon or whatever. I don't know if it'll happen in 2024, but mark my words, you will start to see articles from lawmakers saying we need to increase the tax on gasoline. So there you go, 2024. Hey, what about something good for 2024?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't even have a thought process on that right now. I just want to get through this month.
I know.
I just want to get through Christmas.
I actually was trying to think of something really great that I thought would happen in 2024. And I'm not sure.
You know what I would like?
I haven't got anything yet. I will have something.
I would just like my county tax bill.
There you go. Now they're saying that
end of December.
And they're also saying you may not get the lower taxes like we thought, because there's some lawsuit got filed saying that some of the machines were not certified. So the outcome of the vote is actually in question.
Oh, that's going to pitchfork a lot of people. For sure.
Pitchfork. Ooh, that's a good. There you go. That's the 2024 word of the year.
Pitchfork. So earlier you were talking to me about, I know you make fun of me all the time about how I don't exercise. I exercise in a different way in the sense that I never sit still. You know that, right?
That is true.
For sure. My sciatica says otherwise when I'm sitting in my office. But did you know that Burpees is like a real person?
No.
It is. His name is Royal H. Burpee, and he actually invented the burpee. It's not.
No.
Yes,
really?
I swear to you.
I've always figured it was because when you
Burped?
jump down and you stand up, it causes you to burp.
It was invented to assess fitness with his namesake. The namesake move, the burpee. He was a student at Columbia Teachers College, and part of his PhD thesis was in applied physiology. But so he created this it's kind of a modified version of what we use now. But soon after he invented it, the U.S. entered World War II.
Yeah.
And the Army needed kind of a way of measuring recruits. And it was actually kind of funny because I was reading this article and they were saying that these new recruits are lazy. They're not like anything from World War I. It's kind of like just generational. We all talk about the generation prior to that was lazy. And wasn't World War II, those were like the greatest generation?
It was the greatest generation.
So in this fitness level test, they were expected to perform 12 burpees in 20 seconds. Anything less than 8 was considered poor. Anything more than 13 was considered excellent. But Mr. Burpee said that the military modification, how they did it, was actually way strenuous than he originally did. And it was bad for your knees, your back, and anyone lacking core strength, which totally defines me. My knees are bad, my back is bad, and anyone lacking core strength.
And you burp a lot.
And I burp a lot. But I thought that was an interesting.
That is interesting.
You didn't know that. I didn't know Mr. Burpee was real.
I did not know that. And burpees is my second favorite fitness word behind fartleks.
The fartleks. Okay, well, then
I can never write that down in my journal. I did fartleks today without giggling like a 4-year-old boy.
You have an
boy.
exercise journal?
I do.
Dear diary.
You know what? I found when I was looking for Christmas ornaments, I found a journal the other day from 1983.
I can't say the word that I want to say right now. I want to say it so bad, but I'm not going to say it because I'm a good person.
Say it.
No, I'm not going to say it. But that's good for you, Steve.
Yeah, I journal that stuff.
Good for you. Yeah. Good for you. Not.
Sometimes it's only a sentence or two, but I always try to keep track of what I've been doing.
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. And doggone it, people like me.
Oh, is it my turn? My story.
Your turn.
I've got a story out of the city of Austin that, some of our local governments are doing things that I don't think were ever intended for local governments to do.
Okay.
And the city of Austin, in the interest of what they call affordable housing here in Austin, has started buying real estate. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, the city of Austin and a real estate investment company bought 7 apartment complexes in some of Austin's priciest neighborhoods. One of them was Hyde Park.
Oh, ooh.
And at the time, it was Mayor Adler. He said the reason that they were, and I think the number, I want to say it was $35 million invested of taxpayer money, which is not what city government's supposed to do. But Mayor Adler said they wanted to keep bargain rents and keep people from being displaced by rising rents. So they bought these apartment buildings, and one of the reasons that the rents were so low was because the apartments were not in very good shape. So, they had appliances that were failing. They had paneling that was coming off the walls. They had windows that leaked, things like that.
Uh-huh.
And that's why you could rent some of those places for $1,000, $1,100 a month.
Were those Section 8 homes?
I don't know if they were Section 8. So the city bought these and told everybody, you won't get kicked out and we're not going to raise your rent. Well, in a lot of these apartment complexes, almost immediately, they got significant price increases, rent increases. And one of them, their rent went up 25%. It went from $9.95 to $11.60 a month, and then they started adding on fees for things that used to be included in the rent, like electricity and trash and water and things like that. So the city has been keeping the properties in bad shape to try and keep the rent down. So the city of Austin is effectively a slumlord.
Oh, that isn't surprising.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah.
It's like, what is city government for? I don't think it's to own property. It's to keep the number one thing I'd say is it's to keep people safe, which the city of Austin is falling down on big time. But
you need to lift people up, not keep them down. That's like the whole thing about Section 8 that I never really kind of understood. You know, you talk about slumlords. You know, I think people adapt to their environment, right? And you know, you're placing these disadvantaged people that need a hand up in these crappy living conditions, and therefore they're going to live this crappy life, continue to live this crappy life. And so why not present with this beautiful place and have them live up to that standard? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really don't want my tax dollars. If the city of Dripping Springs, which, I pay taxes into, started to say, like, the city of Austin's discussing buying grocery stores, and in neighborhoods that don't have a grocery store. That's not. So if the city of Dripping Springs,
who doesn't have a grocery store?
I don't know.
Who doesn't literally?
There's a couple of neighborhoods where they have to drive 10 minutes to get to a grocery store. And HEB, like, they're lobbying I heard a news story about this. They're lobbying HEB, and HEB has said the demographics don't fit yet for us to put an HEB
because
there.
Probably the safety concerns of their employees.
There is some safety concerns. But the point of that is, if the city of Dripping Springs said, you know what, we're going to start a zoo, and we're going to use taxpayer money for a zoo. That is not, I mean, it's the same as the city buying apartment buildings. That's not what city government is supposed to do.
Yeah. And
a lot of these city governments have gotten out of control spending the taxpayer money. I don't care who you are. You may think that you need to pay more in taxes, but the taxes if you own a property in the city of Austin, in Travis County, your taxes are insane. Travis County probably pays the highest property taxes of just about any county in the country. I'm sure it's in the top 10.
Therefore, I like living in Hayes County.
Yeah, where they're a little bit lower. But one last thing. There was an apartment complex in Hyde Park, and they bought the property and they renamed it. And Mayor Adler went over and unveiled the new sign, and guess what it's called? The Adler. The mayor of the city of Austin used taxpayer money to buy an apartment building and then named it after himself.
But he's not the mayor anymore.
Not anymore, but he was at the time that they bought these apartment buildings.
Oh, that's nice.
The Adler.
Yeah, well, interesting. Well, you said something the other day that really kind of struck a chord with me. We were leaving a big chamber event where we met Lisa, our guest that's coming on, and you said, it's so funny that this town complains so much about growth, but our city is promoting big, huge events that bring
people here,
lots and lots of people here. But I think that there is a difference between responsible growth and events, and I think that the city does a really good job with founders. And this new event that we're about to have is this. The Eclipse. Dripping Springs, I'm going to just read this straight off of the Dripping Springs website. Dripping Springs is about to experience a once-in-a-lifetime event, a total solar eclipse. It will take place on April 8th, 2024, and Dripping Springs is in the totality. That was a new word that I learned. I like that word. The center of totality, right? Whether you're a resident, business owner, or visitor, this website is a resource to help you prepare for the excitement surrounding a once-in-a-lifetime event happening in our beautiful little town. They actually have a countdown on this website. It's drippingeclipse.com, and it starts Monday, April 8th at 1:34 p.m. and Dripping Springs will be in the totality for 3 minutes. But along with that, I did a little research because people are going to be coming in from all over, right? And you and I, we manage these short-term rentals also. And I just thought, okay, I want to look to see how much is it a hotel room going to be in Dripping Springs?
If you can get one.
Okay. Well, you can't because all of the hotel rooms in Dripping Springs are sold out. The closest one that I found was the Marriott. And that one's $650 a night.
Downtown, like the Marriott?
Lakeway.
Okay.
There's also a loft. That one was $500 a night.
Crazy.
The Sunset Valley Holiday Inn Express, $540 a night. On average, I looked at Airbnb because we were kind of going down this rabbit hole and looking at ours. An Airbnb, the closest one that I found that had availability was an Airbnb room. There was only one here in Dripping Springs. It was just a room. It wasn't the whole house. For $218 a night, which, by the way, if anybody needs to rent a room, come to me. I will give you the bargain price of XYZ. But the closest one was in Wimberley, a cottage for that day, $583 a night. So this town is going to be insane. We heard that all of Hays County schools are going to be closed. Mercer Street may be closed. They're really thinking about the safety and security of people. If you do not have to be in Dripping Springs,
don't come.
Do not come.
And if you do have to be here, don't think that you're just going to drive in the morning because they're saying the roads are going to be insane.
Well, they've even talked to construction workers or the builders and stuff, and police saying, this is the day.
Work that day.
Yeah, you don't want to work that day. It's going to be crazy. Now, unfortunately, you and I work in the heart of Dripping Springs. We work downtown.
I'll walk to work.
Well, I don't know.
You can't do that.
I may have to.
You could. You could start a new exercise program, 20 miles to walk to work.
I will be burping all the way to work. I may have
Fartleks.
my Fartleks. I may have to come the back way. But this is going to be interesting. I'm going to see what Lisa has to say and how they're going to manage the chaos.
Regardless of the chaos, Lisa's going to be fun. So we're going to take a little break and get her on in here. Hang on just a second. Proudly sponsored by...
At Capital Farm Credit, they understand that owning land is more than just a transaction. It's a legacy, a future, and a place to call your own.
For generations, Capital Farm Credit has been the trusted lending partner for land loans, farmers, ranchers, and rural dreamers just like you.
Their personalized loan solutions cater to your unique needs, making the journey to land ownership smoother than ever.
Capital Farm Credit, your land, your legacy. Visit CapitalFarmCredit.com or Mark Rutledge at 512-892-4425.
Capital Farm Credit, an equal credit housing lender.
Interior design should be an investment in your life and home. Let M. Elliott Studio transform your space, where interior design meets excellence in Central Texas.
Beyond just selecting colors and furnishings, team principal and owner, Montana Elliott, is a trained and licensed interior designer.
With her knowledge of architectural principles, building codes, space planning, and design theory, her team will work with you to understand your needs and lifestyle.
From concept to completion, M. Elliott Studio is committed to enhancing your space with a timeless and classic style.
Ready to redefine your space?
melliottstudio.com, 512-781-0224.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Mallet Integrity Team of real estate professionals. They are based in Dripping Springs and bring you over 45 years of combined experience helping people reach their hill country real estate dreams. When you want the best in town, call them at 512-829-2062 or look them up at malletintegrityteam.com. And now, here's Steve and Michelle.
Welcome back. We have Lisa Sullivan with the City of Dripping Springs and the happiness element.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell us how you ended up in Dripping Springs.
Okay. How did I end up in Dripping Springs?
2005, right? Is what I read?
2005. Okay. So my background is in newspaper marketing, and I was working for a newspaper in Charlotte, North Carolina, right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. And I wanted to go someplace else. So I had the opportunity to go to Las Vegas or Atlantic City. And then I had an opportunity at the Austin American-Statesman. And honestly, at that time, I didn't even know Austin was the capital of Texas.
Oh, really?
I was I was born and raised in, well, not born, but I was raised in Florida, and I had heard of Austin, but I had no idea it was the capital. And I got a job opportunity at the Austin American-Statesman.
Oh, that's big deal.
Right down there on Congress and Town Lake. Yeah.
So I applied, came and saw what Austin looked like, fell in love with it, and ended up getting the job. And I looked for a place that had a great school system because my kids were little, and Dripping Springs just jumped out. Yeah.
That story matches what so many people say about how they ended up in Dripping Springs. Yeah, I had a couple little kids and had to get them in a good school.
Yeah.
And your children have cool names. and you moved.
That's my mother-in-law. If Tiger is a cool name.
Well,
I want to know the story behind that. Tiger and Teddy.
Tiger and Teddy.
Those.
My mother said I named my children soap opera names too, so it's okay.
Is Tiger and Teddy soap opera names?
No.
But where did Tiger come from?
So Tiger, I've always loved the animal. And when I was looking up the meaning of names, it said powerful and energetic. And quite honestly, and I'm probably going to say something I shouldn't, when we conceived, it was a full moon, and my sister told me it was going to be really powerful.
And
so I'm like, okay, he's a tiger. And I will tell you that it's a perfect name for him because he's a great introvert, very creative. He's not, you think of a tiger and it's the perfect name for him.
How old is he?
He is 26.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's 26.
Wow. So what does he do?
He is working as a QA for Activision and Microsoft, working on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
Smarty
company.
pants.
Wow.
Yeah. So, like, as an adult, does he love his name?
yes.
I was going to say, that's one of those names that you have.
You either love or hate.
Yeah.
Well, if people actually answered the phone anymore, you would say, hey, it's Tiger. You don't have to say, hey, it's Steve Mallet, because they don't know who you are if you just say Steve. You just say, hey, it's Tiger. They know
Tiger.
exactly who you
El
are.
Tigre.
El Tigre.
And we really named him before we joined Dripping Springs, and
Yes.
him having the name Tiger in Dripping Springs kind of
Oh, I
helped too.
didn't think about that. What a
Yeah,
great connection.
yeah.
What about Teddy? How'd you come up with Teddy?
So I had 3 names, and Teddy was one of them, and Tiger picked it out. So
Oh, well, there you go.
she was either going to be Montana or Teddy, and I forget what the third one was, but
couldn't
and
have gone
Teddy
wrong
means
with either one of
Teddy
those.
means a gift from God.
Well,
so.
oh, and your husband's name is Bart, and I read that you said you guys are the original
Yes.
Bart and Lisa.
Yes.
Sullivan, but
Yeah.
not Simpson. But
Yeah, and we
that's-
told my mother-in-law that we were actually going to name our son Homer, which, but yes, we are the original Bart and Lisa. We've been married over 35 years. We got together, I think, 2 years before The Simpsons came out, so we're the original Bart and Lisa.
So
great.
35 years. What do you think the secret is to that?
He makes me laugh. It's
Well-
all laughs. He is the most hysterical person.
Really?
You should have him on here,
Yes.
not me. He's just a wonderful person.
That's great.
What does he do for a living?
He actually works at Home Depot. He's probably met you all if you've
Does he
ever
really?
if you've
Probably
ever
said
bought
hi
an
to him.
appliance. He probably knows every builder, every apartment owner, he's the one supplying all the appliances in Dripping Springs, which there are a
I'm
lot
going to
of
go
them.
seek him
Yes,
out now.
yes.
That's what I'm going
Bart,
to do.
Bart.
Yeah.
You're going to have him call down to the front desk. Could you please send Bart to the
Yes.
appliance department? Michelle would like to talk to him.
Michelle would like to see you for sure.
So you're now the People and Communications Director for the City of Dripping Springs, which I don't believe probably before they hired you that they had a People and Communications Director, did they?
No, they did not.
That was a title that
No.
they came up with for you.
Yeah, I started, and honestly, I really didn't think I would be at the city for as long as I have been. I started as a communications coordinator and ended up staying, then made communications director, and then I had done some workshops for them, and I realized how important employee engagement is, and they didn't have an HR person, so I kind of went to them, hey, how about, because brand, whether it's, whether you're talking about the employees branding you or anyone else, it kind of connected. So they created a position for me called People and Communications, and people is so much nicer than HR, so
Yeah.
that's why we
Well,
call it
I agree
people.
with that, yeah.
So the tourism department or that Pam Owens had.
The tourism arm is now what used to be
The visitor center, it's
visitor
now
center is
merged.
now part of the city, right?
Right. It was a 501c3. It was on its own. And Pam, who has been wonderful, had decided to retire. And so because there's so much synergy between marketing to tourists and marketing to residents, we, the board and the city talked, and we thought it was a great opportunity. And so it now has moved under the city. And because tourism is also a marketing and branding thing, I now oversee the tourism arm too.
Oh, wow. So is everything still remaining in the same building?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're still separate. It's still because, we've created, Pam and her team has created this wonderful brand, Destination Dripping Springs, and we don't want to confuse the two. So they're still in that building and we are in City Hall, but we are all in one, it's a division of the city.
Yeah, it's all in the same little area. You're wearing a lot of hats. Because you all, I don't want to go into this part yet, but you also have a separate company that does happiness workshops.
Yeah.
How are you keeping all this stuff straight in your head? There's so many things going on. How are you keeping it straight?
They all connect together. And honestly, the happiness part is something, and, I can talk about that, but the happiness part is very small. It's something that I kind of do. It lifts me up, and it's a passion of mine to help people lead a full and fulfilling life. And so one of the reasons why I love the city is that I actually have done workshops for the city. My goal is to make all of Dripping Springs happier.
Oh, God, good luck with that.
I know.
Can you start with Dripping Springs neighbors on Facebook?
Yeah, right. That's
Think
a
of
case
social
study.
media.
That's a case study.
I won't comment.
Right?
Yeah.
I want to deep dive into this happiness element a little bit. You said here, have the past couple of years given you or your organization a few challenges or changes that you didn't ask for? Maybe you were just getting comfortable with re-entering the world, but anxiety and uncertainty keeps coming back. Or maybe you just want to add a little laughter, positivity, and happiness into your life and organization. So what exactly does a happiness retreat look like?
So long story short, so I worked at the Austin American-Statesman, and I got transferred to Florida, our sister company, which was a huge company. I wanted to do national marketing and international marketing. And when I got to the company, it's called Cox Target Media at the time, and it was Valpak. You've probably all gotten that.
Yeah.
So I was the marketing VP for all of Valpak, and they actually have subsidiaries in Europe and everywhere else. But what I found was everyone was so depressed and unhappy when I got there. So one of the things that I had done is I was also in charge of moving 300 employees to a new building. And I actually came back to this position was in Florida. I came back to Austin for South by Southwest because someone was talking about open environments and how Google was so wonderful. And I had gone to this session, and when I came out, I followed all these people going to this session next door, and it was actually an engineer from Google who had written a book, Search Inside Yourself, all about emotional intelligence. And, people want what they have in their personal life in their work life. Mm-hmm. So I came back to Florida to Valpak, and I said, please, can I start studying happiness and emotional intelligence? And they let me do it. So I put myself through a year-long certification. I went to a happiness academy, came back and did happiness workshops for the company, all about, gratitude, meditation, mindfulness.
Wow.
And then a private equity firm came and bought the company and fired all the execs.
Oh, geez.
And so
It's not a happy day.
So I looked at my husband and said, where were we the happiest? And so we moved back to Dripping. Oh. And with no job, nothing, and I just started doing happiness workshops. So
tell me what are the keys to happiness? You take this year-long certification. What are the highlights of that we all should know?
So the highlights are, a couple things, and you've heard it before, we run and run and run. That's all we do. We don't stop and breathe. Take moments to notice the good things in life. It's all about focusing on what's working, not what isn't. How many times have you had a consultant come into your company? There's something wrong with the company, and they try to fix what is wrong instead of tapping into what's working.
Oh, that's
so
big.
positive psychology and happiness is all about focusing on what you already love and building that up. And so through mindfulness, through gratitude, through different tools of happiness, and it is a science. It's not just woo-woo. I kind of like to say it's a little bit of woo-woo and a little bit of science, but it's just an important thing that people want the same thing in their work life that they have in their personal life. They want to feel like they're full and fulfilled and, not running and running and running. And they want to work in a nice atmosphere. They want to work in an atmosphere where people know them, not, just what they do. And so what we focus on are not your talents, which are your external strengths, but who you are and what your passions are and what you love. And that's kind of the essence of what a happiness workshop is.
It's funny. It's as you're telling this story, it reminded me a little bit when I first started working for Steve. And Steve's a very analytical, very in the box, not as much anymore, but is very in the box kind of person. And here this crazy blonde person showed up, started working for him. Crazy. And I kind of was like, I want to like what I do. I'm good at what I do. I feel like I'm good at what I do, but I also want to like what I do because Steve and I talk about this a lot. I spend more waking hours with him than I do with my own family, with my own husband. And the fact that Steve and I now have worked together almost 10 years is a testament to my control.
My self-control.
But I totally, you hit it spot on. But then I also feel like there are sometimes people that just get comfortable in the pissiness, just get comfortable.
Ooh, that's big.
And just like work is supposed to be work. And I'm not supposed to like what I do. And this is, I'm going to just put on my gruff face when I walk in. And life is too short to live like that.
No, and there are people like that. And we kind of call them benefit finding. There are people that look and find the good in everything. And we're not talking about Pollyannas.
No.
And this is really important.
Puppies and rainbows. Yeah.
People think that happiness, it's, woo-woo, you got to be all happy.
Yeah.
No, everyone has down moments. Everyone has down moments. So what I talk about is the tools that we share. My goal is that you're a little bit happier a year from now than you are today. You are going to have ups and downs, permission to be human. That's who you are. And that's okay. But there are people that are just going to be those archetypes that are just doom and gloom. And if they focus on finding benefits, believe it or not, if you focus on finding benefits in the bad things, you can turn them around.
And they're energy suckers too.
Yes.
So if you're hanging around
And
those
why
type
do
of
you
people,
want to be sucked into the crappy stuff?
I know.
I mean, just let that stuff go.
Yeah.
Don't you think social media has a big part in this unhappiness that we kind of? It's almost like a cloud sometimes, isn't it?
It's horrible because most of the people that are that positive, energy, they steer away from social media.
That's right.
Now, there's so much good about social media and sadly there's a lot of negative, but it is where you find out so much stuff. It's where you find out about the things that are happening in the city. It's where you find out about things. And so, yes, I believe social media, but I also believe that you can choose to follow who you want to follow. And so,
and flip it.
Yes.
Like flip it
Yeah.
and not, I feel like, there are people, like we were talking about energy suckers. Like I can have a pity party moment and I can kind of do a drive-by pity party, but I don't live in pity party land. That's kind of what I've always said that. I mean, in general, I'm a happy person and people say, oh my gosh, Michelle, you always have a smile on your face. But Steve knows if I've had
Sometimes it's a grimace.
but if I've had a crap day, right? Steve's like, okay, what's going on? Because I definitely wear my feelings on my face. Like you can totally.
Yeah, you can ask Bart if I'm happy. I am not happy all the time.
I was going
have
to
my
ask
moments.
you if you ever have a day where you're not happy.
Oh, yes.
What kind of stuff brings you down, though? Is this like the normal daily
You know
stuff
what,
in life?
You know what brings
Laundry.
me down?
Yeah, laundry, dishes.
As being a mom, I think what brings me down is when my kids are not happy.
Yes.
I can see
and
that's big.
anything else I am fine with. When my children aren't happy, that's what brings me down. So
I think that's one of the biggest surprises for me as a parent is how invested we are in wanting our kids to be happy, even when they're little, but especially when they're adults. You just want them to find happiness.
Well, how do you flip that script though? How do you control what is out of your control? Though, I mean, how do you if my daughter, if she's ticked off about something, obviously I'm her sounding board, right? Like all the time. I'm her best friend. I'm her best
Kendall
friend.
has called 12 times since we started
since we started, she's called me 12 times. She never listens to the podcast, but she will call me 12 times during the podcast. But how do I, if she's upset about something, therefore it's made me upset, how do I pull myself out of that and not get sucked into her junk?
So I think exactly, and you having conversations with her, and I've had it with Teddy, hey, Teddy, okay, I know that you need a sounding board, but mom needs to just take a breather. And I go out and I breathe and I just kind of be in the moment again and realize, and that's, believe me, Michelle, I know that's the hardest thing.
Yeah, I'm a fixer.
Yes.
I'm a fixer of people for sure. Like,
and sometimes, and you know this, women just want to be heard, but sometimes you can't hear another thing. So I just step back, take a breather, go for a walk, and my Teddy is just like that.
Bless my husband.
I love her.
My poor husband, like when we get into a conversation, if it's like a deep dive conversation, I'm like, this is just a listening exercise.
Oh, yeah. Guys are not good at that.
I don't want you to fix anything.
Guys are really good at that.
We're not fixing, and it's not I'm not venting to you because it's not your responsibility.
I know. Get it.
That's a skill almost every man needs to know, and it's one we are all lacking in. Like, well, just quit then, or just go do that, or just buy that. It's like, it's not that
Well,
simple.
Steve, so if you, to take Lisa's advice, if you see me just walking around
go for a walk.
Just walking
I was
around the
actually
building.
thinking, Lisa, when you said that, that is one of the best things you can do for peace of mind.
Yeah.
It's
A reset.
just get out of whatever you're mired in right in that second. Go for a little walk. You don't have to go for a mile even. You just a couple hundred yards or half a mile. Just get out of that
Get
rut.
out of nature. Get out. Look at a tree. I know. Don't hug it. Well, you can hug a tree.
Hug a tree if you want.
Don't
Hug a tree if you
Just
want.
get out in nature. And I'm a big believer that I think every organization should have a mindfulness room or something. But I also am a big believer that you need to be able to get outside and just chill.
We're lucky in Dripping, especially where you work. If you're right down there by that creek, you could walk within 50 yards and be in that beautiful creek area.
We visited Mountain Gateway, which is a missionary retreat and training center here in Dripping Springs. They gave us a tour of it, and one of their spaces they have are these like individual prayer rooms that people are able to come up from the
size
community.
of this studio, maybe even a little smaller.
And I've always said I'm a big proponent. Like, I need a nap room. Like, I just need just a little nap, just a little little tiny nap. And so I'm like, now the podcast, I'm like, I'm going to the prayer room because like I can sit in here, and Steve knows, like, if I'm promoting the podcast, like it's. I mean, you can hear the sound is deafening.
Sometimes I come, the door's shut, and all I hear is.
Well, I'm impressed you can fall asleep. That's pretty cool.
I'm under the desk.
No.
I'm under the desk for sure.
So Lisa, part of what you do at the city is you're managing this eclipse. You're marketing. Did you come up with a design for those glasses?
Kind of, sort of.
Whoever did a great job.
Kathy Richardson.
Okay.
And you probably heard of her. She is like one of the best artists, graphic designers. I had seen some of her stuff, and it was very iconic. And I knew we wanted. And first off, I am not overseeing the eclipse. We have a whole group of.
I think God's doing that. So
it's not my
we won't
eclipse.
take away credit from God.
I am one person of many.
It is Lisa's Eclipse. We've changed the name now to Lisa's
I
Eclipse.
actually have some emergency management people walk by my door at City Hall and say, "Hey, when's your eclipse coming?" It's not my eclipse.
There you go.
Anyway, I wanted something that was very iconic, Dripping Springs, because it's funny. We are. My partner in crime, Roman Balagad, who is our emergency management coordinator, he's kind of the yin to my yang. I'm the excitement. He's the, we got to plan for the traffic. But I wanted something that was
boring.
I wanted something that was fun, that just screamed Dripping Springs. And she came up with these icons working with me, and she's just so talented. And
businesses can buy these from you guys,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Okay,
Well,
so
the website has the same logo on it. It's really good. I think it really captures a lot about Dripping Springs. You got Mercer Street, DSTX, you got a guitar, music-friendly city. I mean, it's
hard to take everything that's in Dripping.
oh, look, Mallet and Michelle right there. There's Mallet and Michelle.
Got the
Yep.
water,
The spaceship
water
is
tower.
for the eclipse because it's in the sky.
I must have missed
okay.
the deadline for the logo.
Yeah.
For the logo. So, Lisa, give us the skinny on it. Give us the little elevator speech. What is it? When is it? Why is it? What are we doing?
What's going
Okay,
on?
Yeah.
there are people out there, believe it or not, and I cannot believe this, that still don't know that an eclipse is coming to Dripping Springs. Okay, on April 8th next year, we are going to be in the totality of a total solar eclipse for 3 minutes.
Total favorite word now.
Yes, and
totality.
What is fun about that is people will say, "Oh, I've been in an eclipse. I've been in a." No, you haven't. If you've ever been in a total solar eclipse, it is life-changing from people that I've heard from.
Really?
It is, if you talk to someone and they say, "Oh, I've been in a total solar eclipse," if they say it like that, they have not.
Okay.
Because there is a reason why there are eclipse chasers everywhere.
We just met one the other day.
Yeah.
We did.
At Dreamland.
Yeah, that's
yes.
right.
Yeah. It is, most eclipse, it's you see a little bit of the sun. We are going to be in total darkness, kind of like a full moon darkness for 3 minutes in April.
Crazy.
And people who don't know that it's coming, if they're driving down the road and all of a sudden it goes dark at 1:34 in the afternoon.
The aliens are
yes,
coming. Yeah.
It's like, so we are.
It's not going to surprise anybody if aliens do come this time.
No.
Yeah.
We are in the totality. And what's cool about this and why it's a once in a lifetime thing is eclipses happen around the world maybe 18 months, but they only happen in the same location once every 300 years or so. There has never been a total eclipse in Dripping Springs since the 1800s.
What does that mean, the totality? Explain that little definition.
Totality means that the sun is completely blocked by the moon. So in a total solar eclipse, the moon is closer to the earth, and it's just the way that it's kind of angled that it's just absolutely perfect. And it'll start at a certain time, and then eventually the moon will completely cover the sun, completely cover it. You cannot see anything of the sun.
So this thing we had in October was nothing close to that.
No, that was an annular. And an annular is kind of, you're still going to see parts of the sun. With a total, you can actually take off your glasses for 3 minutes.
That's what you were saying.
Yeah. So that's why anyone who's been in a total solar eclipse, it is life-changing. Animals will come out thinking it's night.
Wow.
Things that normally, flowers will close because it's nighttime.
Wow.
It is like Dripping Springs in a full moon. It'll be like the dark sky.
What about are there any physical, do people report physical changes to their body?
I don't think they report physical, but when I say life-changing, I mean, when you talk to someone who's been in a total solar eclipse, they get tears in their eyes. That is how emotional it is. And see, I'm getting chills just because I've talked to so many people. I mean, I've actually gone to eclipse planning sessions in Albuquerque and different things. And before I did, I was like, it's an eclipse.
Share one of the stories that you've
heard. One of our employees, she actually traveled to Oregon, or Iowa, wherever it was in 2017.
I think it was Oregon, right?
Yeah, and she
Oregon.
said that she had no idea, and she just went, and she was young. Her mom said, "Come on up, let's just do this," and she said it was surreal. It was just. She said, I can't even describe what it feels like. Just know that you're sitting there, and what happens is everyone gets quiet. The whole world kind of gets quiet because everyone's in just such awe that you just kind of look up at the sky and think, oh my gosh, it's total darkness. This never happens. And it just is life changing.
So you're saying I could probably go to HEB at this time and no line.
Isn't it one of those things, though? I'm sure it is, actually. You look up at the sky and you realize, okay, that social media post I saw 20 minutes ago is so stupid. I mean, look at this universe that we live in. And this, we're just these tiny little things on this great big blue ball whirling around in a solar system. I think it gives you perspective on where we are in life, and it's just stuff to focus on.
I think that's spot on, and I think that's why you get so many eclipse chasers, because they see it once and they want to experience it again. And it's just that awe-inspiring. And yes, we are just little people, insignificant compared to the real.
Don't get wrapped up in all that stuff.
You lived overseas, and I felt this when I went to Europe a couple months ago, that when I went to France, when I went to Italy, and I came back, and Todd's like, so where do we want to go next? Like, what's our next adventure? And I realized that there's very few places that I really like to be except my home, around my family. Yeah. But it also put into perspective how really small this world is.
It's true.
It's like, okay, I went to Italy, I went to France, and I'm okay. I'd like to go to Greece, or I'd like to go to, Scotland or London, but it's like, it's just the world is, and so maybe that's kind of that feeling too, that quietness. Yeah. That's going to be cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, Lisa, part of what you're doing in coordination with some other people in the city is planning for this and how it's going to impact Dripping Springs. So what are we expecting is going to happen in this town?
Okay.
Probably that weekend before, and then, of course, on the 8th, on April 8th.
And the schools are closed all over Hayes.
Yes. All over Hayes. Well, I think there's still some that are still thinking about closing. But no, what we can expect, we have a task force that has got representatives from the chamber, from emergency management, from fire, and we've been planning this for 2 years because we heard what happened, the last one in 2017. What we can expect, and you don't know what you don't know. We're planning, all hell could break loose and we don't know. We can expect probably, we are in the Totality, but only for 3 minutes. The center of Totality is Fredericksburg, which means everyone and their brother is going to be trying to travel to Fredericksburg to get in the 4 minutes of Totality versus the 3 that we have here. So we can expect probably in our little area, probably 3 to 4 times the number of people that are usually in Dripping Springs in our city during that time. Crazy. Before, during, and what happens is, excuse me, hold on, me.
While you take a drink, what I was reading, you were talking about the animals. It says the eclipse could signal that it's bedtime, so birds might fly into trees, chickens might settle into their coops to roost for the night, bees could return to their hives, and barnyard animals like horses and cows may start moving towards their stables.
Yeah.
Michelle's going to come in her jammies. I'm actually just going to sleep at the office. Yeah, go to her sleep room.
Yeah. So anyway, what I was saying is that we can expect 3 to 4 times the number of people in traffic coming through our area. And what's challenging is, you have it leading up to the actual eclipse. Once that eclipse is over,
everybody's got to get out.
People book it. And so the traffic is what's going to be horrendous probably towards right after it, which is why the school system closed.
Yeah, because it's ending right around the time school would end.
Right.
So is Dripping, the city of Dripping, I guess, obviously I've heard about Fredericksburg. There's a big festival going on, vendors, blah, blah, blah. What are we doing? Are we closing Mercer? Are we going to have vendors?
We are actually closing Mercer. We were going to close Mercer anyway because the traffic patterns, can you imagine how many people try to cut through Mercer? If we didn't close Mercer, it would just be a standstill. So we were planning on closing Mercer anyway. And our worries and our concerns are, there's 3 things that everyone told us to always worry about as we've been studying this. There are 3 big things: education, porta potties and glasses.
Oh,
And so we knew we needed a place to put the porta potties. And we also wanted to make sure that people had food and water, because if they're stuck, we wanted to just make sure as a city that we're taking care of our residents and the visitors and the businesses. So we were planning on closing Mercer anyway. So what we are doing is we're calling it our sunblock party. And isn't that a fun thing? A sunblock party. So we're closing. Mercer's going to be closed from Sunday morning through, Monday night when it's over. But during Monday from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m., we will have food vendors, we'll have music. We actually have an entertainment stage that's going to focus on so many of the children.
Right?
The local people, local entertainers, local guitars. Tommy Mojica, who runs a school and is starting a school. He's got all his students that will be coming, and the playlist is going to be nothing but, Moon River and things that tie in with the eclipse.
It gives people a chance to kind of wait out the traffic, enjoy the little town of Dripping Springs, because not only is 290 going to be crazy, it's going to be 12. It's going to be...
Lisa, you said something at the chamber luncheon that I thought was really insightful, that if you have to be at work on Monday morning in Dripping Springs, you may not be able to get into work because of all the influx of people. So either try and stay, like if you worked at the city and you had to be here for that event, you should try and stay in town Sunday night.
Right. So we already, the minute, one of our hotels wasn't even open. The minute it opened, the Marriott, I was on the phone with them saying, I need to reserve 14 rooms because we need, as a city, we need to be here to help and take care. And we wanted to make sure people had a place to stay. So we reserved 14 rooms just for that.
$1,000.
Yeah, right.
Now, okay, here's the other thing that I want to tell you. One of the reasons why we're selling so much stuff is so that we don't cost the taxpayers. We are trying to cover the money of the porta pot, the cost of the porta potties, every single thing that we are selling that is a commemorative eclipse thing is going towards the expenses. We are not making a profit on
wonderful.
that. Yeah,
I think that's great.
Yeah.
We did a little story about reckless spending by city governments right before you came in. So that fits in. And it wasn't the city of Dripping Springs.
Okay.
You also talked about at the chamber, the city, I don't know if it's been you, but the city has reached out to some of the local businesses, for instance, the builders and things, to kind of warn them.
We are trying to, the most important, when I say those three things, education is the most important thing, because we want to make sure that builders, businesses, that they're prepared, that, one of the things with businesses, one of the things that happens is communication. Think about people are watching the eclipse, but they're also filming it. So every single person has got their phone up. And what's going to happen is, and what has happened in the past, is businesses that rely on the internet to pay for things
credit cards,
may not have that for an hour.
You said that during the eclipse also that people, when it happens, if they are not at their destination, that they will literally stop on the side, on the highway and get out. But then if it's, I don't think this was you that was saying this, but if it's overcast or cloudy, that people, then the traffic patterns can start to move, that people that do this a lot, then they will head
go to different places.
Yeah, they'll head east, west, or whatever, so they can see it a little bit better.
Eclipse watchers, eclipse followers will look at the weather, and they will go wherever the weather is going to be the best. And when we had the annular, we used the annular one in October as kind of a test case to see, we purchased all the porta potties and we put them out, so we knew where things were going. I was at the Triangle Veterans Memorial, and I was giving away glasses, and people had stopped on 290, got out of their car, came up to get glasses from us, and then hopped back in their car because they couldn't find glasses anywhere. So people will stop, get out of their car, and do whatever they're going to do. And it's what happens during eclipse.
Yeah,
so.
You showed a picture from, I think it was from Oregon, from the 2017 eclipse, and it was this major highway and just bumper to bumper traffic as far as you could see, and it looked like people were just stopped watching the eclipse.
Right, and when the annular one, we got a little taste of that because they were backed up all the way to headwaters. trying to get through.
I was trying to come back from Austin that morning. It was backed up to Sunset Canyon Baptist Church.
And people didn't know what was going on.
And it took me a little while to figure that out.
I was downtown at Seaholm, and it was funny because I had made the appointment earlier and forgot about it. And I told my hairdresser, and I had these little glasses that one of the title companies had given me. And the hairdresser, my hair's up and colored, and everybody is in the middle of Seaholm just looking up, just sharing my glasses left and right. And I don't think there was so many people that didn't know what was going on.
I have to tell you, and because I know I'm talking all over the place,
but
one of the things that I loved, and people are saying, well, why wouldn't I just watch the eclipse in my backyard?
Oh, my daughter said, why don't just go out at midnight?
And I think that's right.
That's what she said. Yeah.
And I think that's great. But I will tell you, being at the Triangle during the annular, it's being around people that adds to the excitement. It was amazing watching all the children and even the adults kind of oohing. It's like a giant fireworks display. Ooh, ah. So while it's wonderful wherever you want to see it. I want to make sure you see it. But that's why I think being in a crowd and being near, the sunblock party is going to be
and
so
that'll
amazing.
be on Mercer between Ranch Road 12 and 290 along the whole stretch of Mercer.
And Steve and I, Mallet and Michelle, are doing something, but we don't know yet what we're doing. We're doing something.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what it is either, but we're going to do something.
But we are definitely getting glasses, and we're going to get some glasses from you guys. But I am just, this is fascinating to me. Is like, who knew that this part of your job, oh, this is on my resume. I'm the Eclipse
It's not really
planner.
a job, is it? You're having so much fun with this.
It's so funny because Pam Owens, you talk about Pam Owens, she had the original meeting where she got everyone together. And I guess at the time she knew she was retiring, but she hadn't told anyone.
She's like, peace out.
Because she said, I think you should handle this, Lisa. I'm like, what? And so I didn't ask for it. It was kind of just, here you go, Lisa, you're with the city. And it actually is working out well because the city has so much to do with
Lisa,
it. Lisa,
I could honestly not think of anybody else in this entire itty bitty little big growing town to do this because you just ooze happiness and joy and fun. And you could even make an eclipse shine. So you are some.
Oh, boy, that's good. She can make an eclipse shine.
Look at that.
Oh, there's a headline for
Look at
you.
that.
Lisa, what's the mission and the purpose for all these events that the city does? Right. One of the things we were talking about, the city has sort of a problem with traffic, and we know that's because so many people are moving here. But then we do these huge festivals that attract people here, and they see how, we got Founders Day and the music festival, and now we got the Eclipse, which I know will be a once
and the world famous Mallet and Michelle podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, brings
so when
hundreds
the
of people.
city has an event like, say, Founders Day, what's the purpose of that? I know it's a traditional thing, but what does the city hope to get out of that?
So,
raising awareness?
So first off, it's not the city's event. I mean, it is our event, but it's a commission and it's done by volunteers. And Founders Day started, and it's a way to celebrate our heritage, which I think out of everything where people are so concerned about all the growth, the one thing you don't want to forget is the heritage because as the person who oversees communication and marketing and now tourism, there's this fine balance between, yes, you've got to kind of roll with the modern times and grow, but you still want to stay what Dripping Springs is. And so, it's a celebration of our heritage. And so I get that it brings traffic, but I also get that, you can't, it's kind of the happiness thing. You can't just stand still. If you just stand still,
I agree with
you're
that.
going to die. And
you're going to be pond water.
So we have to grow. It's just how do we grow and how do we grow in a good way? And, little festivals, and we don't have a lot of them. That's one of the ways that we let people know about dripping so that our growth continues, but we monitor how it's growing.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to do with the Western Wonderland thing?
Yes.
Oh,
well,
look at that.
City.
So tell us about the Western Wonderland.
So I don't have any. The city has got a lot. So Dripping Springs Ranch Park is it's their baby, and it's part of the city, and it's really exciting. We are going to have an ice skating rink for the first time.
Is it real
We're doing
ice?
a trail. Yes.
Real ice?
Yes. We've got a company coming in that is creating an ice rink.
We went to one once and they said, come ice skating. It was a big plastic sheet.
Oh my
and that's not a joke. It was a
no.
big plastic sheet of this hard metal or hard
No,
plastic. This is real ice.
This is a real ice rink.
What
This
is Roxy's?
Roxy's is a new restaurant that's going to be opening on Mercer Street.
Where Buddies used to
Yeah.
be.
Oh,
Yes,
really?
and they are about to start kind of internal construction, and I don't know when they're going to be open, but it's going to be a cute little diner kind of type thing, and we're excited about it.
So it's partially sponsored
Yeah.
by Roxy's. That's why I was
yeah,
asking. So
yeah.
and so there's a website, the Dripping Springs Ranch Park.
Michelle, you
.com.
don't know this. We got a special invitation for a preview of that this Thursday.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And there's also a Trail of Lights. So besides the
we did?
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
She didn't even hear you now, Lisa. We did. We get to go. We get to go to Western
so
Wonderland.
excited.
We get to go ice skating
I'm
and
so
see the Trail
excited.
of Lights. Yes.
I'm so excited.
We're excited about it, and we wanted to, make it iconic to Dripping Springs. That's why it's called Western Wonderland. It fits right in with Dripping Springs Ranch Park, and I have to tell you, the work that the team at Dripping Springs Ranch Park is doing, this is going to be fabulous. We are so excited, and we want to make it a family tradition, and it's the first one. So thank you for bringing it up, and we're excited about it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. When the Ranch Park was first built and Mayor Purcell had that vision to do that, there was a lot of people that did not back him on that. That's been one of the best things that's ever happened to this city.
Yeah.
It's bring so many great events and place
Yes.
for people to gather, and so we'll be there for that preview.
Yay.
I'm just thrilled that you came in, and you've just made my day so much better having you here.
You're sweet.
And
So, Lisa, where can people find out more about the eclipse?
drippingeclipse.com.
Okay.
drippingeclipse.com. Everything on there. If you've got an event you're planning, we will post your event. If you want to purchase glasses, sign up for the newsletter. That's the best thing to do because you'll find out more about information that's coming. It's not the city's website. It's kind of the task force website.
Okay.
So that's why it's a standalone, drippingeclipse.com.
and go get your picture taken in the triangle
Yes,
with the
thank you to
big
Flying
glasses.
Fish.
Yes.
This is so one of the things I have to tell you, and I know that we're wrapping
No,
up, but I
good.
have to
Go
tell
ahead.
you that we had seen like a little picture from 2017 of some city that did that, and the people at Dripping Springs Ranch Park, Emily and myself looked at each other and said, "We want to do this here," and the talented team at Dripping Springs Ranch Park put that together. Flying Fish Swim Academy is the sponsor.
Oh, yeah.
And I will tell you that I've had 5 or 6 cities contacting me, asking me who the vendor was.
that did that.
And I'm like, sorry, we did it ourselves.
Oh.
And
So how was it? You had somebody specially make that?
we did it.
Oh my
The
goodness!
people at Dripping Springs have this giant lathe. We made it out of wood. We
Wow.
we got an engineer because Mayor Folds wanted to make sure it didn't go flying across the street
Oh
in the
my
big windstorm.
goodness.
And then I got with Kathy Richardson, who is the designer, as I mentioned, and we used the graphic guys to wrap it. And now one of the things that people say, they're not real. You cannot look at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
they're-
there's a picture
yeah,
of a girl
yeah.
look like she's trying to see through.
So
them
we
down
made them so that you can't see through them because we didn't want anyone's eyes to be hurt. And this is all about education.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny that we live in a world where you have to be cognizant of that somebody
Yeah.
might try and look
Yeah.
through them during an
Yeah.
eclipse. They're not-
Steve,
they're
we live
not
in a world.
100 times. I know.
I would do that.
Yeah.
I'm
we
the
live in a
world.
world where shampoo bottles say "do not eat" on them.
It's tasty. Have you ever had strawberry shampoo? It's
God.
yummy.
I hate that to be the last thing we talk about with Lisa is don't eat your shampoo. Well, can people get in touch with you to ask you questions about
Yeah,
what's
if you
going
go
on?
if you go to Eclipse at cityofdrippingsprings.com, that email, I'm the one that's answering those.
Okay.
Or you can do L. Sullivan at cityofdrippingsprings.com. We're looking for sponsors, so anyone who wants to sponsor it too. And no, I could talk about eclipses all day long.
No, it's
I don't know
great.
what I'm going to do after April.
I know.
really don't know what I'm going to do.
You know, I couldn't. Michelle said it. I can't think of anybody that would be better suited to do this job.
You're so sweet.
I mean, really, you bring a lot to this, and it's a fun event. But you're making it even more fun.
Thank you.
Well, we are very lucky in the city of Dripping Springs to have somebody like you in our corner. So thank you for coming back here and
it's my
and
home.
Joining us.
It's my home.
Well, wonderful. Well, you know, my title that I wanted is the totality of happiness. Nailed it.
Oh God! Could you know where I can get her a shirt made with that says that on that, Lisa?
I've got a
Christmas
cricket.
is
I've
coming.
got a cricket.
Yep,
I've got a cricket. I can make you one.
Well, Lisa, thank you so much for coming in, and we may have you come in after the eclipse. Tell us how it all went.
That's right. That's right. Give us a wrap up party.
I really want to thank you because education and letting people know about it is the most important thing. So I'm
we're happy
honored
to
and
do our
thank
part.
you.
Well, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ready to turn your land dreams into reality? Look no further than Capital Farm Credit.
Need a loan for your perfect piece of land? Capital Farm Credit is there for you.
Their dedicated team will tailor a loan to fit your unique needs because your dreams are their priority.
Capital Farm Credit. Your land, your legacy. Visit capitalfarmcredit.com or Mark Rutledge at 512-892-4425.
Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better.
Capital Farm Credit, an equal credit housing lender. Elevate your living experience with M. Elliott Studio, your trusted partner in interior design, registered and licensed by the state of Texas.
You want your home to reflect your personal style and identity. Investing in a well-crafted design doesn't just beautify your home, it enriches your life.
Team principal and owner, Montana Elliott, understands the profound impact of a thoughtfully designed space. From remodeling to full design, M. Elliott Studio is the first step to unlocking your style.
Turn your aspirations into reality. Tailored to your taste and desires, M. Elliott Studio will work to create an environment that embraces your style with style.
Your space, their expertise.
melliotstudio.com 512-781-0224.
This show has been brought to you in part by the real estate pros at the Mallet Integrity Team. When you're looking to buy or sell, you need them on your side. Why settle for less when you can have real estate done right? Give them a call at 512-829-2062 or get more info at malletintegrityteam.com.
You know you like us, so go now to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave us a review. Why don't ya? We love your feedback and comments. Email us at malletandmichelle@gmail.com.
Thanks for putting up with us.